We don't know who each other votes for. We keep that secret. That's personal info. You know, a husband and wife don't tell each other that kind of info. Who are you voting for again? I'm not telling you. We keep that hush hushy in my house. The the Matt Miller Real Podcast. The Matt Miller Real Podcast. Just what you thought would happen. Episode 4 has begun. And I know the last episode I said I was going to lay low on the weed, but let's just say I have not. But that's only because you can't get addicted to weed. So I'm just keep persistently doing it because I know I'm doing it out of my own free will every time. So it's like, why stop if I just do things out of my own free will? You know, I've been munching. You know, it's almost dinner time because I got to munch, and I've been munching so much right now. You know, it's dinner time, and I'm spoiling my appetite. I'm gonna eat some nice. You know, I make some real nice tacos. I put a lot of cumin on them. I make some real nice tacos, and we have all these snacks from a party, and I've been munching them down. We had fucking Sour Patch Kids I munched down, fucking gummy bears, Reese's cups, popcorn, sweet and salty popcorn. Do you like me listing off snacks? That's going to be a new part of the podcast. I list off snacks, and I've just been grazing over the days, you know, as you do as a guy. You just graze in, take the snacks out, put them in face, live a snack life, and that's just what I've been doing. How many snacks are you fucking eating nowadays? Hmm? What's your favorite snack? Who Okay, let me go onto the desk already. I should have planned more for big episode 4. This one says get new charge cable. So I've had my phone, I haven't had like a real charger in a minute for it. I have one of these like table flat ones, but they charge it so slow. I like this flat one, but it's nice to just place it on there and have it charge, but it just charges slow and it's only good for the nighttime. And sometimes if I place it weird, it doesn't charge it, and then the fucking phone isn't charged. And what am I doing? Stomping around the world with no phone? How am I going to know how to get anywhere? I don't know how to navigate. You think old Maddie could navigate somewhere good? No. I'm only navigating bad places nowadays. If I was left on my own devices, I'm gonna go somewhere bad, and then there's gonna be someone being like, "Hey, why don't you try eating this? This will make you wanna fucking jump around and yell things." And I'll be like, "I'm not gonna eat something like that." And they're like, "Why don't you try eating this? This one's gonna make you wanna fucking. This is gonna make you come." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I could eat that." And then I just jizz in my pants. And I'm like, "Why did I come to this place? And why did I agree to eat that thing that made me come?" That's what happens once I go off the grid with no phone. People that go off the grid, they're going no phone, right? Because you got it, or you're on the grid. So you're just in the woods, amongst the woods, identifying animals. I could probably spend a good few days in the woods identifying animals. Well, the thing is, I wouldn't be really able to identify them. Oh no, I'd bring like an animal book, so I'd remain off the grid, and I'd go out and I'd identify all the animals in the woods. Do you want to come with me? What animals could we see? Did you know that turkeys they like sleep in trees? They just go jump up into trees and hang out. And then okay, I was learning a lot about animals on a trip I went. Deers, like when it's like super rainy or bad weather, they just like deal with it. They don't do anything. They just kind of deal with it. They just get all wet. At least that's what I remember. They don't really have like little homes that they go into. They just get all wet. Deers are just always roaming around. Turkeys will just get all wet too. Wild turkeys. You ever see a group of wild turkeys? They're very funny little wobbly guys. They're not just a drink, wild turkey. There's real wild turkeys that are just stumbling around in the world. Yeah, where I was at, we were hiking, and we saw some nice wild turkeys. We saw some nice fucking deer. We saw some nice birds. We had the dog running about. We just had a wonderful time. And yeah, if we, I just want to kind of, let's. I could spend some time in the woods with animals. Is all I'm saying. It's not a bad place to be, even though I'm here in the city, where the only animals I see are mankind, humans, the craziest animal of them all. Every day I just see people walking around, going into the subway. Ooh, let me go to a place. Taking the subway somewhere. Where are you headed? How is your day going? Are you angry about something, old angry pants? What's going on in your life? Every day, just people doing things. And some people are a little annoying. But most people are just fucking chilling. So how do you feel about that? I remember once I was talking to a therapist, Jeremy, if you ever look him up. Was his name Jeremy? He had kids and they would be like making noises, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go address my kids. They're making noises." Why did I bring up Jeremy? Oh, because I was talking about like people, and I was like, "There's a lot of people who aren't so chill," and he's like, so where can you find some chill people? I'm like, damn it, I didn't want you to start saying chill. That makes it seem cringy. Old fucking Jeremy. He was trying to use my verbiage, to make me feel comfortable, and I'm like, there's so many people that are just not so chill, and that's just very annoying. But then there's other people that are pretty chill, and he's like, well, maybe you should just go with the chill people. What makes someone chill? And I'm like, shut up, Jeremy. Why are you trying to make me seem so uncool for using the word chill with your stupid loud ass kids? He was a very short guy, maybe 5'2", maybe 5'3". I don't know. I'm bad with understanding height. I saw him once in person. This was post COVID. He was a little guy in a little chair, and we sat in the room and we're like, oh, let's discuss a little something, Jeremy. Let's discuss some of my life here. What a silly thing, therapy. I've been to many therapists, and then you kind of just start talking to them. I remember there was a guy that was like I was there on time, and the other guy was still like saying lots of things to him while he was in the lobby, like getting me to go to the room. And this other guy, yeah, he just couldn't stop talking to him, even while he was like paying him and shit. And this is the same guy that I remember one time he had to pick up the phone, and he was like, oh, he's like, oh, my uncle's missing. We're trying to find him. And I'm like, okay. And then I was thinking, I'm like, am I like one of those shows to see if I have like empathy? It felt he was like he paused the meeting one time, and he picked it up, and his phone, and he's like, oh no, we can't find him. He's like, it was either his uncle or his grandfather. They're like, oh, he's missing. And I'm like, oh no, you're on the clock, buddy. I don't care about your fucking missing family member. I'm trying to tell you about my family traumas here, bucko. Yeah, that guy used to always put like his feet on a desk while he listened to me. Like, it's interesting in therapy because like I kind of want to know someone before I start like talking to them about this stuff to see if they're like some kind of moron, because anyone can just get a fucking therapy degree, right? You could be some kind of fucking dipshit and become a therapist. The same guy where his uncle was missing, I asked him, was he passionate about therapy, and he's like, well, I used to do this, and then I realized I could get a fucking degree and start doing this. So I did this, and I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, I guess that's like most jobs. We trust these professionals, even in the medical field, but it's just like any other fucking job where someone's just fucking doing it because they can. It's not like they care that much. So this guy, so yeah, so therapy. Have I talked about this before on this? How do you feel about that? Are you going to therapy? I know you're not going to answer and you're just out there in the world just listening, but I've had interesting experiences. I've had many a therapist. Started off with a lady. She was fine actually. She was a fine lady. And then bunch of fellas and then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to keep doing this shit. What is the accuracy, the accuracy, or the what is the data behind the positive effects of therapy? I'm sure it's out there, and I don't feel like googling it right now. Googling it, I gotta drink a little water for you. But it's like, I guess it works for some people. It's just maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it makes people worse. Maybe it makes people bad. Maybe somebody goes to a therapist and they walk out and they're like, "I'm gonna be all bad," and they start kicking things on the ground, kicking around things, start yelling at people, just making a fucking ruckus after therapy. Have they ever seen if like a ruckus happens if the person was recently at a therapist? Huh? Maybe therapists are causing ruckuses. Wasn't there like a Norm Macdonald, I think, talked about, or maybe it was like a bit, or like his therapist killed himself and he was the last guy he talked to? Maybe it was a bit, but that seems pretty wild. To break the therapist. I wonder how much that happens. If you're just intaking some people's traumatic stuff, if you can just get broken by hearing all their tragedy, you're like, wow, humanity really isn't worth it. I'm just gonna kill myself. And then the guy's like, what do I have in this world if my therapist killed themselves? I'm sure therapy people, therapists, there has to be a certain amount of suicidal percentage amongst them. No wonder how their patients feel. Is there a study on patients after the therapist commits suicide? These are all questions I'm just asking into the air that I could look up that I'm not going to. But I just like it as a thought right now. It's fun just to think about therapy and suicide and things of that nature. I think we can all agree upon that. If that's one thing us as people can agree upon, we like what? Talking about our problems. What else? Violently killing ourselves. So this podcast is for the people. And I'd just like to remind you all at Matt Miller Real on Instagram, facebook.com/ Matt Miller Real, YouTube. I gotta stop doing all these fucking Twitter, Matt Miller Real, TikTok, Matt Miller Real 2. And, we're all being funny. And by world, well, I mean me. You go to find some laughs on there. Reach out and see the laughs. Reach out and see the laughs. Reach out and see all the laughs. They're coming for you. Okay, I'm not going to sing a song. I'm just ad-libbing a song for the podcast. Not to change subjects, but I change shirts. The lightings might be a little bit different if you're watching video, but I've been watching a lot of chimpanzee videos because I was listening to this chimpanzee guy on Joe Rogan, and basically, I'm just going to do a little recap of his show. So you don't have to hear it. You can hear it from me. So chimps, you know what they do? They eat monkeys. And then I Googled it on YouTube and I watched the chimps. They ate a monkey. They were ripping his arms off and stuff and eating, chewing it down, sharing it amongst the group. Oh, I was going to wear my sunglasses during this. Let me just put on some cool shades for a little bit. Actually, I'm going to take these sunglasses off. I don't think I should put them on. Not that I was looking at anything weird. I don't. I just was like, I don't want you to know anything I've ever looked at on my tabs, and I don't want to have to close them out. quick cut there, and I'm back. Chimpanzees, yeah. So they're ripping apart the monkey, right? And then I was learning about how chimpanzees choose the alpha chimpanzee, and like there was one little chimpanzee that became the alpha chimpanzee just by like grooming everyone, all the best chimps. He just groomed them, the nice guy alpha. You just spend all this time grooming everyone, and you rise to the top because everyone is in good graces with you, because you're always grooming them. And yeah, they're describing the one that reigned the longest at the top was the one that did was small but did a lot of grooming. So that's a little life lesson. You should be grooming all the top fellas in your area. And if you're constantly grooming them, that's like upwards grooming. Usually when someone says grooming, they're thinking of like an adult doing it to a child, right? Oh, they're grooming them. But they don't think of it in the way of an adult doing to someone who has more power than them to rise up upwards grooming, right? You're grooming them to consider you because they have influence. Upwards grooming. How do you feel about upwards grooming? Pretty good, don't you? Mm-hmm. So in either case, a lot of chimpanzee. I just watched a gorilla video. These guys were talking to a gorilla, and afterwards, the guy was describing it like he was. He's like it was like a human experience. It was because they were like looking at him all curious, and he was looking at them all curious, and everyone was equally curious. He felt like he experienced a human thing. I didn't realize there's only like, well, at least in this one area there was only like 200 gorillas, and then or maybe no, maybe there was less than that, maybe like 30 or some shit like that, and then there was only like 200 chimpanzees in this other area. There's very few gorillas and chimpanzees, is what I'm getting at. There's only like a handful of them existing naturally in the wild, which is pretty silly. It's not silly. I mean, we want to save our animals, right? Keep our endangered animals from getting going away. We like to save certain animals. How many animals get endangered every year? It's probably a fair amount nowadays. It's probably every day there's a new endangered animal. How many animals go endangered every day? Approximately 55,000 to 73,000 species go extinct every year. If the average amount of extinctions happens each day, it may be as low as 10,000, as high as 100,000. It's estimated by some that between 1/100% and 1/10% of animals go extinct every year. So it seems like just this is on A to Z animals. This is the top result. So a tenth of percent of animals go extinct every year. So every 10 years, 1% of animals. So then what that's 10 times 100, that's 1,000. Wouldn't yeah, so in 1,000 years there'll be no animals. Is it is that what we're saying here? Is that the trajectory we're going down? I feel like there will be. Well, just because we keep animals around, like horses and pigs and cows and chickens and dogs and cats, or certain animals, we just hang on to them. Those won't go endangered. I think this has a peak, but that is a lot. 10,000 a day. Imagine just being the last animal. Every day, 150 species may become extinct. Well, okay, so now we're getting different facts. There's approximately 3 disappearing per hour, resulting in 72 species to become extinct in a single day. The current species count exceeds 30 million. If there are 100 million species exist today alongside humans, 1,000 to fucking 100,000 between species become extinct. You know what I was just saying there? Could you understand what I was just mumbling, a new mumbling podcast? So, according to buyjust.com, it's completely different numbers. Only 150 species die every day, but according to A to Z Animals, which is the top search, it's 10,000. So there's really no way to know how many animals are fucking dying. Okay, here you go. Scientists, this is the American Museum of Natural History. Scientists estimate that 100 to 10,000 species, from microscopic organisms to large plants and animals, wait, large plants and animals go extinct each year. This is 100 to 1,000 times faster than historic extinction rates. So, yeah, humans are definitely making things go extinct. It's all, I mean, without a doubt, it's because we're so modern with technology now. We have to destroy the earth until we're the last things. Us and dogs and cats, I guess. And all the animals we eat. A lot of the time, this is also something I learned. Well, no, it was off the Louis Theroux documentary. Oh man, my laptop is so loud right now. Let me try to fix that one sec. All right, no noise. And Louis Theroux documentary that there's certain species of animal that are only kept alive because people hunt them. That's the big reveal I had to reveal and stop the video to you right now. Certain species of animals are only kept alive because people hunt them. They would be dead if we didn't want to kill them. So isn't that interesting? What does that tell you about life, huh? Like that we like to keep things alive just so we can kill them? Is that what it tells you? Because that's exactly what it is actually. What else do I got going on? I got this book. I didn't. I'm not that far into it, and I haven't read it in probably a few weeks now. But I'm trying to read page 61. That's not bad. That's not bad. I saw this movie White Noise. You know, a real fun movie, right? Real fun time. White Noise. So now I have this book that I'm reading slowly. It's the book that became the movie. It's just real wild and all over the place. You know, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff going on. But I'm gonna dive back into it. I think maybe I'll finish it and I can give you a book report on how it is. But I just need to dedicate the day power just to reading a little bit. Get a little bit of my reading in. Because if you ain't reading, what are you doing? You need a little story in your life. They say successful. You ever listen to like these self help things, and they're like, you need to like read. You need to be reading every day. All the greatest people read for like 2 hours a day. They're just sitting there learning facts. I mean, but I don't think they're reading storybooks like this one. I think they're reading whatever things that are supposed to help them in their life. Things that are supposed to help them in their life books. Like finance books. What are people reading? Right? You read a nice finance book. You read a book about how to work a couple hours. You read all these books, and then you're all of a sudden, you're killing it. Every night you're reading 2 hours of these stories, and now you're a billionaire. So you just got to keep reading. But I'm reading this storybook. This story. You ever read this White Noise? Have I said it? I probably already did say it. I feel like I'm really rambling on right now. Let me tell you a little bit who do the cover to this. You see the cover to the book? The cover to the book is done by Michael Cho, but the design was by Paul Buckley. So look at that. That took two guys. If you see the video, you'll see it. And it's nice artwork. It really draws me in and into it. But yeah, reading that's a fun time. It's a fun read. What else do I got around here? Of course, I have my D3 supplements here. I don't know if I've brought those up before. I may have. Maybe on the Patreon, I talked about the D3. And, it's good for you because everybody likes a good D3 vitamins. My voter information, I got that in the mail. I'm not gonna disclose that. I'm not gonna tell you my political affiliations. I remember a time when we used to keep that quiet. That even my parents were like, "We don't tell each other. We don't know who each other votes for. We keep that secret. That's personal info. A husband and wife don't tell each other that kind of info. Who are you voting for again? I'm not telling you. We keep that hush hushy in my house." Don't be talking about who you're voting for. You know what you'd be talking about? You got to be talking about fucking pounding this pussy. And I know if you're thinking, you're like, Matt, aren't in the joke the person you're imitating is your mom, and isn't that a bit much? No. Okay? Pounding this pussy. I don't care who you're voting for president. I just care if you're licking my clit. That's how marriages used to be. I don't care if you're fucking voting for this fucking lunatic. As long as you're slobbing my knob, you know? Nowadays, you got to be on the same page. Not like the good old days when you could just be completely two different individuals just living together, fucking smooching. Makes me think like I have no idea what a marriage is. It's just just fucking and smooching. Uh, I even remember just going into my mind the time like when we had smoking and non-smoking in a restaurant. How funny. There's a transition. I'm great at speaking right now. A transition from like it used to be all smoking, right? It wasn't well. There used to be no smoking, I guess, right? And then there was all smoking in restaurants, and then they're like, well, some people don't want all this fucking smoke. So then there was half smoking, and now there's no smoking. We went through a smoky phase. We just love smoking as people. We're big smokers. We can't stop smoking, and I don't blame us. You light up a cool one. You know, I was found out. I think New York City smokes the most weed. New York City smokes weed versus world or some shit. New York City. All right, New Yorkers smoke more pot than any other city in the world by a large margin. Study says. All right. Well, where's okay? The table reveals a sample. Now let's put it in order. What am I looking at here? I don't even understand how to. All right, I'll just read you what it says. The study crunched the numbers in the United Nations World Drug Report 2017, along with the most recent population data available, and worked on the assumption that the average joint weighs 0.66 grams. All right, guys, get that info in your head. This is NBCNewYork.com, just to give it a source. It also attempted to show how much states could make if they made marijuana legal and taxed it. It found out that second to Cairo, Egypt, New York had the most to earn from taxing the drug. If tax was collected at cigarette levels, if New York legalized it and taxed, it would have earned itself 354.5 million extra last year, the study said. In his 2018 budget plan, I don't know why I'm talking like this, Andrew Cuomo proposed a study that would look at the impacts of legalizing marijuana for recreational use. Well, this is an old fucking thing. By the numbers, the amount of pot New Yorkers smoked like last year is equivalent in late to 702, 524 large apples. 13 average sized African elephants. That doesn't seem like that much fucking pot that was smoked. So how are you guys doing? Did you enjoy that segment of the podcast? This is all pre-written. This is scripted. I write this all down. Am I looking orange in the video? Do I have to make some adjustments for the next thing I do? I don't know. Who fucking cares? Maybe I want to look a little orange. Well, no, that's not good because there's certain orange guys nobody likes. I don't want to look like them or him or the one orange guy. You know who I'm talking about. I was gonna say someone who isn't Donald Trump as a misdirect, but I couldn't think of another orange guy. Like, does the guy that holds his eyes in All Real Monsters? He's orange, so I just don't want to look like him. But maybe I do. Maybe if I could hold my eyes on my hands, that would be pretty fun. Would you like me if I did that? If I was just walking around the street holding my eyes in my hands, just looking at everyone, just examining everyone. Maybe I'm like talking to a person in front of me, but it's holding my eye like around the side of their head, looking at them. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, just taking a stroll there, Maddie." And I go, "Huh, I'm glad I can see you doing that." Do you think that would be funny to see? Yeah. Well, I think that might be it for this. I don't really got another fucking fun thing to talk about. Let me just grab this real quick. So I buy rolling paper, right? Let's read what it says on it. Do you want to read about what it says on the rolling paper? Well, I got to get it closer to my eyes to see what this says. I'll tell you what it says. It says this is made in Spain? What the hell? Made in Alcoy, Spain, the birthplace of rolling papers? Did you guys know this? Dang, I should have read this thing years ago. Alcoy, Spain is the birthplace of rolling papers. Looks like I gotta plan a trip to Alcoy, Spain. Because I want to, I just love rolling papers. That must be a smoker's paradise. You go to Alcoy, Spain, you light a fatty, and you're like, this is the place where they created these fatties. This is it. This is the town for me. Oh, you know what I learned? Tikka Masala, famous Indian dish, was invented in Glasgow. You know that? It was invented by an Indian guy in Glasgow. And it was like, I don't know, maybe like 1970, I forget when. It was one of those years in the past. It wasn't even that long ago. Glasgow is where Tikka Masala was created. So that's fun to know. That's a fun fact. Like how like General Gao's chicken was invented in America, or like spaghetti and meatballs was invented by Italians in America. It wasn't like an Italian thing from the old country. There's like plenty of new like American dishes from other places that were created here and are different but are specific to us, but don't we don't go. Except for the Glasgow one, which was the Tikka Masala, but like the General Gao spaghetti and meatballs, right? Or something like that. There's other shit. There's lots of shit that was invented here in the great United States. Soul food, right? And that's all in the US. So yeah, we got Muncher's Paradise down here in the States. A lot of good food all around. That's really just the truth. Living in the Big Apple just means I got access to all the treats. Living in the Big Apple like myself, I got nothing but treats. I get treats for days. And I really got to stop munching all the treats. I actually, when I took a break there, I munched a little child's bag of pirate booty, just filling the void between recording the podcast. I don't even know if I already said that, but I keep questioning. I got to stop questioning. This is the episode. This is the serious time. We're doing the entertainment right now. I need to be fully in control. Every word needs to come out perfect. I am presenting the world with my heart. My heart is exuberating through the airwaves. And now I'm going to end. It's the Matt Miller Real Podcast. It's the Matt Miller Real Podcast.